Hey, what's up, visual listeners? This is the Replayer Podcast, and I am your host, Dan Morris, aka Stark Evil Vash, coming to you live on YouTube. I hope you all can hear me because it's live and shit gets fucked up. So, we're watching this live on YouTube, where you can listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And with me this fine Wednesday evening is the Pocket Ninja herself, Maria.
Hey.
Hey. Also from the land of Souther, is Patrick.
Dapper Dan, how you doing?
Oh, Patrick. I am the Adapadan. I like that a little better than Deadpan Dan. It sounds a little bit more positive. Thank you, sir. Joining us for the first time on this podcast, a new face, also a newcomer to Couch Soup, would be Tyler Graham. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Tyler.
Thank you, Dan the man.
Dan the man. I've heard that one my entire life. Thank you, sir. Anyways, this week we are going to be talking about all the incredible news that's been coming from all these massive game showcases that have just been dropping over the last couple of weeks. There's too many to even go on the list here. But first, before we get into that just savory gaming news and many, many things, we all have a lot of things to talk about and say. I want to address some stuff going on with the podcast and, let everyone know there's some things are coming and changing over the next couple of weeks or months. So first of all, as you may know, Pagan has left the show. Pagan is no longer part of the Replayer Podcast, and I am taking over sole hosting responsibilities. That's right. Hosting. But that's not all. I'm looking at changing up the way we do things to include actually retiring the Replayer Podcast. So like Retro Replay and how that had to come to an end and eventually evolved into Couch Soup, so must too the Replayer Podcast. I came to the decision that it's time. The Replayer Podcast needs to be put to rest, but something new will rise from the ashes. And that is where I'm looking to you, our audience, to help. I'm actually going to be reaching out to all of you to let me know if you want to have a hand in the development of the new show. We're working on a new podcast to be relaunched sometime in the near future to do more of what we've been doing, but with a greater focus and drive. That being said, it's going to be a gaming culture podcast that focuses on games and why we love them and the people who enjoy playing them. I'm also going to be being joined by some lovely people to be my crew. They're going to be my first mates, my right-hand mans and women's, and these lovely folks here.
Non-binary folks.
Non-binary folks. So the last thing I wanted to put out there before we move on is the new show is in development. It's going to take some time. It will be a new property within the Couch Soup ecosystem. Hopefully, we'll see. But I am asking you, any of our listeners who have been loyally following us and hopefully watching this live version right now, that if you're an artist, a designer, an editor, anything along those lines, if you have any inclination to try to help with the future of what the show is going to be, please reach out to me on Twitter, or you can email the podcast. Let me know if there's something that you'd want to do to help be involved in what the new podcast ends up being or looking like. So yeah, that's kind of the big thing. All things come to an end, but we're going to continue doing the Replayer Podcast over the next couple of weeks or months while we develop the new show. So you're going to see a lot of new things happening here, like this live show. And hopefully the plan right now is we're going to start doing the show every week again. That's to be seen as well, based on schedules and timing and everything. I also want to see how people feel about the day of the week. Right now we're doing Wednesday nights because Wednesday is the day the show went up for podcast. But that's up to, some discussion and seeing what works best for everyone. So, what do you guys think? What do you think is a good time for the podcast to be? Would Wednesdays be good? I was thinking maybe Thursdays, the old retro replay time slot. And I want to ask my panelists here, as well as the audience, everyone out there listening, what do you think?
I'm good with. I like Thursday. I think Thursday has a bit of nostalgia for us.
For the replayer crew.
Yeah, it's just pretty much. But I mean, any time in the week really. I think sometimes midweek can be good because people have that midweek slump and they're looking for a pick me up. So it's always nice to have that little midweek thing.
Yeah, I like Wednesdays. It's always been good, but it's the difference of publishing the podcast on Wednesday versus actually making and
Yeah.
producing the podcast on a Wednesday. So it's all stuff that we're going to be working out. So, mind our dust, ignore the debris that's flying around as we work out some of the kinks of the new direction that we're taking the
So
show.
kinky here right now.
So many kinks.
So
All right.
kinky.
I want to get onto the main discussion. But before I do that, I'm going to do one last thing real quick. I want to thank everyone out there who's been listening to the show, everyone who's supported the show, anyone who's just, been there with us from the long haul. I want to thank everyone out there. You've all made this truly special, and like I've met some of the greatest people through the replayer community, now Couch Soup. Especially any one of you out there who supported the show in any form or fashion, be it, sharing the podcast, you know, doing whatever you can to get it out there. And the few people who actually help support it by donating money. Like I can't it blows my mind that people actually had donated money to help support this podcast. And you guys are amazing, and I love you all. Thank you. That being said, moving on to this new format. We're watching us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. I'm gonna do my little pop-up button so you can see the little graphic, because that's what we do now. Yeah. All right. I'm done, guys. You can join the conversation. Let's move on.
Let's
do
talk
it.
about video games.
Let's
Whoa,
talk
video
about video games.
games.
That's what the
Yay,
show
video
is about.
games.
So,
Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for.
That's the
Tyler,
spirit.
thank you for joining us for the first time. He's all excited. He's like, "Yee." This is Tyler's first podcast, correct?
That is correct. It's my first podcast.
Welcome to the dark side.
The dark
popping my-
side.
Podcast cherry.
Sounds
Ew.
Oh,
Tyler.
Ew. Video games. Get on to
Speaking
the
of
Video
video games, there have been a bunch
Video
of
games.
video game showcases happening during this non E3 time. We had PlayStation State of Play back on June 2nd. Then there was a Sonic Central, which I didn't even know was a thing. Then we got the Summer Games Fest, which was packed full of all sorts of things and included the likes of Netflix Gaming, Guerrilla Collective, Wholesome Games Direct, Future Game Show, the PC Games Show, the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, as well as Capcom Showcase. And then Xbox had their little follow-up extended showcase. That was a lot. A lot. It's anyone who's been trying to keep up with all that, I'm tired. How about you guys?
I still feel like I haven't even seen everything. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I'm not even
Yeah.
sure. So
For sure. I think I caught like the first day, and then after that, I was just catching up on highlights because there was just so much stuff coming out. I'm just like, I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they
it's-
just kept hitting you with it. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
it was a lot to take in. It was a heck of a lot to take in. I did what I could, and Dan, I gotta tell you, I'm not that thrilled overall.
Overall? Okay, so
overall,
let's say this was E3. What was your ranking of this non E3?
out of what scale?
Do you want to
Grading?
go out of 10 or letter grading? Well,
Let's
how
give it a
about letter
letter.
grading? Let's go
Let's give it a letter. I am leaning like it passed still, but not by a lot. I'm talking C level. I'm talking D level. Nothing announced this last week really got me that excited. I'm like yeah, it's great to see updates on things that we know already existed. But for me personally, it didn't quite do it.
Mm.
I'd like to give
Feel you,
other
feel you.
people a chance here too. I mean, unless you want me to go further into that, but
Let's
no,
go
I
around.
kind
Everyone.
of agree.
yeah,
I kind of agree a bit. Like there was nothing that was like, oh my god, I'm about to piss my pants. It was just it was more just it's an update to a game we knew, or I've heard about this game and it eventually got an update. There was nothing that came out that you were like, oh my god, this is going to blow my mind, basically. So I kind of agree with what Pat was saying.
How about you, Tyler?
I might shoot a little bit higher. Yeah, I might shoot a little bit higher. I might go like B minus, B plus, around that area. But I see where Patrick and Maria are coming from. I think that is the I guess the general attitude towards these showcases. But personally, I think the reason I'm putting it a little bit higher up is just because some of the more niche stuff they showed, which probably wasn't like big name titles or like super exciting things for a lot of people, kind of appealed to me. So just personally, I'd put it a little bit higher up.
Sounds good. I think I vibe a little closer to where you're at, Tyler. Like, yeah, there wasn't a lot. There was no big like, oh my god, fucking holy shit moments. But like, there was enough things to make me happy and pleased with some things that we were shown, especially some surprise announcements that I wasn't expecting. We'll get into some of that later because we're going to do a little like roundtable talking about some of our favorite announcements that they did do. But there was at least two for me that were like really hard hitting. Um, but yeah, Tyler or Patrick, did you have anything more you want to go into detail now
Well,
that
I mean,
everyone's kind of had their say?
I want to give credit to Jeff Keighley for trying to level expectations, because I do remember
Mhm.
specifically he comes out before the show actually starts, and with the summer game uh, game fest. What did we call it? What is it called? Sorry, summer game. Summer Game
Summer
Fest.
Game
Sorry,
Fest.
Yeah.
Summer Game Fest. He comes out,
You
for
got it. You got it.
that show and says, "We did what we could. Like, please don't be mad." And like, to be fair, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I'm like, oh, you promised me the world. I don't vibe with that, and that's not my style. So it just didn't get anything to get me all that excited. But I think that the expectations were set appropriately, but I still, as far as when I walk away from that, I just, you know, just could have always had a little bit more, just being a greedy little
It's
gamer.
it has delivered more than most game shows lately. Like State of Play, PlayStation
Yeah.
State of Play has been a little dead lately. But so this one did actually deliver something where you were like, okay, I can something. Yeah, it's not wasn't a total loss. But
And there's still the reasonable human in me that's like, okay, COVID is a thing and it has
Mhm.
affected everybody still, and supply chains and all that stuff. So like, I am in no way mad, like, oh my gosh, where are my games? So just to throw that out there too. I think that I know everyone's doing their best, and we appreciate everybody that makes games for us too.
I heard someone talking about this, and I think it's a fair point on like 2022 had aspirations, they had expectations. The year of gaming had aspirations, but the world was still dealing with a pandemic. We're still getting through this, and we also have a war going on in
yeah.
Ukraine. The Russians are being fucking Russians, apparently, and it's fucking shit up. And people try their best, and let's look at it this way. This is something that was brought to my attention. 2023 is going to be phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, if everything stays on track, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Like 2022 is taking a bit of a hit, but it's like 2021 was a pretty good year for gaming.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with 2022 being a little bit of a lull, and then 23 is just going to be a massive banger. Like, so many.
We hope.
and the whole thing about 23 is that so many of the huge titles that were supposed to come out this year were pushed back there. So you've got the big titles that
Right.
were supposed to come out this year, and you've got the big titles that were slated to come out in 2023,
Yeah.
and it's just loaded.
Yeah.
So
And to
Yeah.
piggyback on what you were saying, Patrick, about Jeff
It's gonna be
Keighley kind of
wild.
setting expectations, Xbox did the same thing in their showcase right off the bat. They said, here's everything that's coming in the next 12 months specifically. Now, if you think about it, we're in June. That puts us to June of 2023. We don't know what's going to be coming in the fall of 2023, which I assume is going to be every massive banger Xbox game that we've all been waiting for, that they've
Yeah.
announced over the last couple of years with all
And
their
they always try
acquisitions.
and do that push out for the Christmas rush as well. You always get those big bangers come out for the Christmas area. So yeah,
For sure.
I'm sure we'll get some more
Oh,
horror
yeah.
games for Halloween. They always push those out. Yeah.
So now that we've kind of gone around and said our piece on the overall show, I wanted to kind of touch on from my perspective, and I want to see if you guys agree with me and see if anyone listening agrees with us on this. I think there was a few massive and the biggest announcements that they made, and for me, I listed them as such. Resident Evil 4 remake, easily one of the biggest announcements they had. Kind of we were expecting it. There had been rumors forever that they were going to make a Resident Evil 4, so it wasn't a huge surprise. But man, we got to see it. We're good, happy, yes. Then we got the Starfield gameplay reveal, which is something that everybody's been waiting for. Everyone's been wanting to know, what is Starfield? What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? We've also got a new official trailer and gameplay for Diablo 4, plus an early 2023 release date. Yes, Patrick.
All right. So I think just as a little side for Diablo 4 specifically, I think that was like the not a great trailer to announce that. Like to use it as a character class
Character reveal.
I literally thought it was V Rising. I've been playing this game so much, and like I thought it was like a console version of that game. I don't know. It just like I want to be so excited for Diablo 4, and I still am, but I don't think that this was the trailer to get everybody like still in it. I don't know if you have any specific. I think the idea of that character is great, but I think that like I wanted more gameplay of everybody too. Like
I
I
gotcha.
just want to see more of that game. And like a lot of like Diablo Immortal is getting some some bad press too. And I've seen now a bunch of articles come out about how Blizzard's like, no, Diablo 4 won't be this. We promise. We
Yeah.
promise. I just think that there was room to gain some more positive hype for the game. But
I feel you.
I'm sorry. That was my little Diablo 4
No,
aside.
and I want to. I'll even echo on that. Where when I was watching that reveal trailer before you knew what it was, I'm sitting there looking at it like that kind of looks like the Necromancer from Diablo, but I'm not. I don't think this is Diablo. And like you, I thought maybe it was something like V Rising or something in that vein. And then it's like, nope, this is Diablo 4. I'm like, oh, it is the Necromancer. I was right. That's what I was thinking. But I think the bigger part of that, the bigger news from that, is that fact that there's a release date and it's early next year. That was
Yes.
to me was like the because I figured Diablo 4 was still another 5 years out or something
But
because they
don't
just
you
take
think that
forever.
your reaction being, "Oh, it's what I thought," isn't as good as like, "Oh shit," like
Yeah.
that says it to me right there that you're just like, "Oh yeah, it's the
I
thing
will
I thought,"
say,
you know?
because on that note, like I don't care that they added a necromancer to Diablo
Uh,
because I like the necromancer in Diablo 3 enough, but I want something new. Like I was hoping for a
yeah,
newer class or something
yeah.
different. Like I don't know. I want to play the what's he called? The druid when that comes out. I'm really interested in the druid. But anyways, before our
Yeah,
little Diablo tangent,
yeah.
back to the biggest announcements. Obviously, for millions of people, they showed the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, which was pretty damn huge. And like, I play the Call of Duty games, but like that trailer was pretty impressive. It looked great. I mean, that's Call of Duty in a nutshell. They don't they rarely miss. I almost said they don't miss, but they were rarely. It was a very impressive gameplay trailer. It harkened back to this is something that Tyler touched on. If you want to elaborate where I'm going here.
Yeah, so what they did with the gameplay they showed was, or at least it looked like to me, it looked like the prologue mission for the original Modern Warfare game from like the first series, not this reboot that they're doing. So it kind of seems like they're trying to get all the fans together, the old fans, the new fans, and it seems like with the reboot they're trying to slowly seeg into the original games. They kind of showed Ghost in their whole like Modern Warfare 2 reveal. So I think it is a massive announcement. You know what I mean? They're looking to really get all the Call of Duty fans together right now.
Yeah. And I know I mean Modern Warfare, the first remake or whatever that counts as, is pretty good. Like I have fun with it. I played nothing but multiplayer. I haven't even played the story. But I'm gonna try to fix that soonish. But anyways, for Call of Duty fans, I think they have something great to look forward to. And lastly, what I think is one of the biggest announcements was the not so much of an announcement, but a confirmation by Hideo Kojima that he is partnering with Xbox to develop a game built specifically for Xbox using Microsoft's like cloud technology. And he's trying to build like he's challenging himself. Those were like his words that he's going to challenge himself to make a really unique new experience. And to me, that's just fantastic. Like I'm just happy that Kojima is making something and Kojima is working on something new. I don't care about it being specifically Xbox necessarily, but just Kojima making anything. Like, you
Yeah.
can't not be happy about that. So
And I
I,
mean, honestly, just I think like with Death Stranding and all that, like when he makes a unique game, no matter how polarizing the opinions are on it, it's going to be something unique and special. And so the fact that he's saying he's challenging himself with whatever the cloud gaming stuff is, that is really interesting. I think there's going to be something, groundbreaking to come out of that. Whether or not it'll be polarizing. So
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Patrick,
I
did
mean,
you have
I
something
would.
to add?
Go
Oh,
on, Pat.
sorry. Go.
I'm just curious what this means, because the last time that Kojima was saying he was out searching for new text, something to that degree, he ends up using a different Sony Studios tech to create Death Stranding. And so, like, I'm just curious, like, who does he borrow from at Xbox, if that's also the case? Like, what do you think that game is then based off of, like, to then do his own thing with? And maybe that's not the case, but he was able to bust out Death Stranding in like a few years. Like, that game came out surprisingly quick, I feel
It
like,
did, yeah.
from announcement to to
Maybe
release
he'll
date.
be
So
working in Unreal Engine 5. Maybe. I don't see why he wouldn't, unless because he can't use the Decima engine from Death Stranding because that's a PlayStation engine. So yeah, what does he make the game in?
yeah, I don't have any good theories, but I'm just something to think about with that announcement. Like, what is he going to use? Rare's technology? Is it going to look like Sea of Thieves? That'd be cool.
Mm?
I'd be into
That'd be
that.
cool.
It's not going to happen, but I'd be into it.
Sea of Thieves style, like sneaky stealth Metal Gear. Metal Gear.
Yeah,
I want
psychological,
if he
psychedelic.
does anything, my dream. This is off the cuff. My dream Hideo Kojima project, which I know he can't do, but I wish he could. Zone of the Enders 3, or something within the Zone of the Enders universe. There, yeah, that'd be my thing.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. I'm willing it. Hear me, Hideo Kojima.
Twitter,
Anyway,
do your thing.
so the main thing that I was looking forward to doing is doing a little bit of a roundtable. Each of us talking about our favorite announcements that did come out of these shows, even if like you weren't the happiest with the overall presentation, there was definitely still some good stuff to come out of it. So I want to go each one of us one by one, give us one of your, games that you're excited about, go into some description and explanation. We can have a little bit of a discussion about it and then circle around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Tyler.
okay, and I'm giving my number one, and then we're going around, right? Okay, so my number one is Warframe, the Digital Extremes, the people that make Warframe. They put out a new cinematic trailer for the Duviri Paradox, which is the next chapter in Warframe's ever expanding story. Warframe is kind of like, I would say it's kind of like the Destiny in the way the story works, and that it's kind of like ever expanding, kind of like space drama kind of stuff. And they just closed the book on the story they've been working on for basically like 8 years, more or less. Like they closed that leg of the journey. And so to get the cinematic trailer for like the beginning of this next leg, that's kind
Are
of
you a
massive
big
for me.
Warframe
So,
player?
I really like that one. I am a big Warframe. I have a couple thousand hours probably on Warframe. So yeah, that's a time eater.
I've
It's a
only
time
dipped my
eater.
toe in that franchise or series, but I'm familiar with Digital Extremes. I've played some of their previous games before they did Warframe. So, I mean, happy for you and happy for anyone else that's excited for that, because I know there's a lot of like dedicated fans for that community in that game.
Right.
Warframe feels
They
like
have their own con and everything. It's getting huge. Go ahead, Patrick.
Warframe feels like the game version of the joke about the snail that's like, if you take $1 million or whatever, the snail's always coming to get you. It's like the game I can't escape. Like, I just remember that it was like a free-to-play game when I got a PS4, like early on, and you're like, I just spent all the money on my new console, and there's this game here, and I just didn't really dive into it. So I'm like, I'm sure, and people, it's been around this long, people seem to love it. I just haven't given it a try since any new update. But I just feel like I can't escape from Warframe, and like it just slowly kind of chases me. But I'm very excited that that you've got some new Warframe content to play. It's great.
Well, if anyone, Maria does have thoughts on that, we'll roll into what's one of yours,
What's one of
top-
mine? Well, one thing I was actually excited about with this is what I did like to see is the amount of survival horror games that are coming out.
I'm with you there.
Fuck yeah. A lot of people are like, "What's with the horror games?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fucking bring it on."
Yeah, it's a horror game revolution, and I'm
Yeah,
fucking
like
here for it.
yeah, absolutely. One of the games that I did see that came up that I was a little excited about. I haven't played any of the previous games, but was Layers of Fear. from Bloober Team.
Mm,
Mostly because like Bloober Team lately have been the go-to for semi Silent Hill type games. They are like the new Silent Hill pretty much. And I haven't played Layers of Fear, but I saw the trailer for it and I'm like, I could actually get into that. It's got that very dark vibe that
mhm.
I've been kind of looking for in games. And so that was one of them. When I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm I want to see people get murdered with chains. It's good. So I'm all for that.
Nice. And
Yeah.
just for clarity, this is the new game is Layers of Fears.
Layers of Fears, yes.
Yeah, because there's the original Layers of Fear, which I've played, and it's pretty good. It's not necessarily my cup of tea as far as horror games go, but I did enjoy it and I had fun with it. Mostly because any horror game that doesn't have any kind of combat usually makes me like meh, because I
Yeah.
don't like to just hide. But Layers of Fear was more of a like a psychological experience, less of a like run away from the monster kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've heard Layers of Fear 2 is really good, and then I went on and played, like, the Blair Witch game, and I played The Medium, those were all great. So, yeah, I'm there with you. I'm looking forward to that one.
And I heard that this one, because it's Layers of Fear, it's kind of a mix between the previous games into this one.
Mm,
So for anyone maybe who hasn't played the previous ones like myself, this could be a good one that you could just launch into without needing that previous story. I don't know. Could give it a go.
yeah,
We'll see.
and if no one has any other thoughts on that, we'll move on to Patrick, and what's one of your top announcements?
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, Dan. Where if I don't have any kind of combat in a survival horror or in a horror game, I'm like, I just don't like that sense of vulnerability. I don't like to play hide and seek that much. Well, I do
Yeah.
like I play hide and seek in real life if you really want to. But yeah, in the game's not so much. One of the games on my list that I wrote down was from the PlayStation State of Play, and it's Roller Drome, which I don't understand what's going on in that game. And if you can tell me, please send me a tweet. Do what you got to do to give me the info. But it just looks so cool, like the art style, the cell shaded or uh I don't know what to call it, but the art style looks very cool. You're on rollerblades, you're shooting guns, you're like doing tricks, and then also taking out bad guys. Like, sign me up. I don't have to say anything more on it.
Yeah, that definitely looked kinda fun. I was like, "Ooh," like, one of the few things from the State of Play that made me kinda like, "Oh, that's different." And, of course, an actual new announcement as opposed
Yeah,
to anything else.
Yeah.
that's true. But I think it just felt like something about that trailer just felt like frenetic, like bombastic. You know what I mean? Like you're smashing through glass. You got like guns in your hands. You're shooting down. You're shooting up, and I don't know. It does look like a great time. It just looks like a good time.
And it comes off the heels of another roller derby game that just came out for free 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah. That's what I've been playing. I've already been skating,
Yeah.
and so it just feels like a natural progression that then you just put weapons in my hand because I'm an American. No, sorry. That's terrible. But that game just looks like a lot of fun.
I played 1 round of that other roller game, and I won, and I'm like, "Good. Perfect record. Goodbye.
See you later.
Perfect." Alright, I guess that brings it back around to me for one of mine. And keeping on trend with the horror games, I have to say the Callisto Protocol gameplay reveal fucking rocked my world. I was
Yes.
so pleased with that. I've been looking forward to that game for no less than 3 years. I remember hearing about it being in development. I remember hearing it was from the team who made Dead Space, and it was like gonna follow right in that vein. And my god, did that trailer, if you haven't seen it, it ends with like the most like coup de grace ever. And it's like you could take every time Isaac Clarke died in Dead Space and combine it into one, and that's what you get in that one trailer from Callisto Protocol. I cannot wait to play that game when it comes out in December, and I'm gonna let my guy die a bunch just to see how fucking horrible it can be.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like The Last of Us in space. That's kind of the vibe I got because it's so brutal. The death scenes you got, like it like
Well, that
you
was
know.
Dead Space too. Dead Space did
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
thing. Like you would watch Isaac Clarke die in horrible ways in Dead Space. That like Dead Space pioneered that. They kind
yeah,
of took it from Resident Evil 4 because Resident Evil 4 kind of started that. Then Dead Space did it. Then The Last of Us did it. But I think until the Callisto Protocol comes out, I think Dead Space is the king of killing your character in
nice.
horrible ways. If you haven't played Dead Space,
Dude, when I
Maria,
was when I was a kid, man, I had YouTube autoplay that video where like Isaac Clarke gets the needle in the eye.
Dead
You
Space
know the one
2.
I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, terrible stuff. That was not good for me as a kid. But
Nightmare fuel.
I
Oh, like
gotta
an accident,
say, yeah,
like
yeah,
that. You were
like
watching
yeah,
something
like
else, and then it
it
auto
auto
played.
played.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta say though, I'm not like a big horror game guy myself. I've never played Dead Space or anything, but like the little like like because obviously it's the same team, but even like the little inspirations you see in like the gameplay and all that, like how they have like the Isaac Clarke, like how his health bar was on his suit, and how like the ammo was like on the gun, and like the whole UI interface and all that is like merged with the character, and it kind of feels really grungy and all that. Yeah, I gotta say, I feel excited for Dead Space fans because it seems like a good time.
And even better for
So
Dead Space fans is the remake of Dead Space coming a few months later. So I'm going to be double dipping. I'm going to be going Callisto Protocol and then Dead Space remake right after that, and then you got Resident Evil 4 right after that. Like, oh, it's going to be a good year. It's a
That
good year
Def.
for
trailer
horror.
made me so conscious of the fact that I was watching it at work. It was like I had it like I'm in my little cubicle, and it's like my phone is broadcasting this below my two monitors at work, and I'm like, just like letting it play or whatever, and it just like that trailer comes on, and I'm like, I like put the phone down, and I'm just like listening to it instead because it just like there's people walking by. It's an office setting, and I just was like, yeah, I don't want people to see that this is what I'm seeing. I got to go rewatch this trailer later. you know, they're
Yeah.
gonna, yeah.
I had to
If I wasn't
rewatch
already in
the
HR, they
ending.
would call me into HR, I'm sure.
Like, what the fuck? That is not safe for work, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's loop it back to you, Tyler. What's your next favorite announcement?
all right, now this is kind of where I was getting at, where I was saying the reason I put it a little bit higher at the B minus B plus range is because I really like some of the niche stuff. That game, Human Fight Express, has got to be my number two because kind of looks like Hotline Miami on crack. Like it kind of feels like when I look at it, like I don't know how to explain it other than I kind of get a feel of like Hotline Miami plus like that game My Friend Pedro. I don't know
Mhm.
why that's the next one that comes to my mind, but like it feels kind of like a mix of the two. The combat looks like it feels really crunchy, like when you play a game like Sifu, and like you feel like you're hitting things, you know what I mean? And that game just looks fantastic. I can't wait to get in that and start trying to learn how to get combos and dying horribly.
Heck yeah, that was
Midnight Train
Midnight
Express.
Fight Express. That's it. I have
Midnight Fight Express.
Midnight
That's what
Fight
it is. I
Express.
absolutely lied to you.
Liars. No, I actually watched that trailer too, and I thought, well, this is pretty impressive. And I believe it said it was developed by a single guy, like it's a sole developer making it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he's been spending years on it because I think I saw like something really early in development, like several years ago, and back then it was the reason I think the reason I had Train on the mind is because back then when he was just developing it, all he had was like a train fight, and now it's
Mm,
it's got the whole game. So
yeah, and you said that
yeah,
reminded you of Hotline Miami.
oh yeah, definitely. I feel like that is the number one game that it
I
reminds me of,
haven't
and I love that one. So
I haven't personally played Hotline, so I don't know the connection, but I'm excited for it. It looks pretty cool. I'm gonna have to check that one out too. All right, moving on to who do we do next, Patrick or Maria? I forget
It was me.
the order. Go, Maria.
Yeah. Again, another horror game, and I'm not actually excited. I mean, I am excited for it just because it's got a release date
Mm,
at fucking last. Scorn. This
Scorn!
game. This game's been since 2014. This game was
Yeah.
announced, and it's been a long fucking time. And it's just, I don't really know. This game is. I'm sorry. It's probably going to be dog shit. But it's just the fact that it's actually got an announcement that I'm actually happy because I'm worried it's going to be agony. It's going to be one of those
Yeah.
games that's just so like because the
And by
reason why
agony,
I
you mean
say
the
that,
video game agony, not
yes,
agony to play.
yeah, no, I mean it could be
Wh-
agony to play, but
yeah.
it's just the fact that this game is so visually I don't want to say impressive, but they put so much into this art style with it. It's took influences from H.R. Geiger and another artist called Belinsky. I probably murdered that name. Sorry. And it's just it's very impressive. It's very alien. It's got this kind of very vibe about it. That they haven't really showed you much of a gameplay style. It's more just people walking around, random aliens jumping at you and things. And so I've heard there's no dialogue. It's more of an atmospheric type thing. But it's just the fact that it's been in development for so long. It's like it should be the perfect game for the amount of time it's been on fucking back burner. But I'm just worried it's going to be absolutely shit. But I'm just excited, but that it actually got announced. So that's good. And horror. I mean,
Same.
you know, yeah.
I've been looking forward to that game too. I remember actually watching a trailer for Scorn with Agony back in 2017. I watched a random YouTube video of like, here's the top 10 horror games that are coming, and it was Agony and Scorn side by side. And Agony came, and it was dog shit, and I got a refund on that game because oh my god. But Scorn hopefully will be a lot better. It at least has combat to a degree,
Yep.
and those freaking environments look terrifying. And I can't
Yes.
wait.
I'm just worried that they've put all of their eggs into the art style and there's nothing else.
Not solid gameplay.
That's
I mean,
my
I watched an extended gameplay trailer on it a couple months back, and it was a straight up like 10 minutes, like nonstop shot of the character moving around the environment and doing things, solving puzzles, fighting some monsters. And I'm like, okay, it's definitely a slower paced, like methodical horror game, but I'm like, this still works for me.
yeah.
It's not breaking it yet.
It's not Agony.
Yeah, it's not Agony.
So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited for it just because it's coming. So
Have either of you guys seen Scorn or know anything about Scorn?
I saw it, but it just looked gross.
Yeah, it definitely looks gross.
Go ahead,
it's
Patrick.
gross.
Yeah. You know what though? I just love the atmosphere of that. Like it is gross, but it's like as far as like horror games go, that might be the one for me. Like I kind of want to get in that
It's
grind.
a lot of
I want to get in that
squelching.
grossness. That's just the atmosphere is yeah. It does remind me a lot of Alien. So
All right, Patrick, what's your next one?
So I'm throwing a bit of an audible on this one because I just am reminded of seeing more coverage on this one, and not so much a new game announcement, but more updates on a game called WrestleQuest, which is like a Super Nintendo styled wrestling RPG where you play as a character who is an aspiring pro wrestler that is so just caught up in like he couldn't believe that wrestling could ever be fake or predetermined.
It sounds like that movie. You know what I'm talking about. There's a movie with a guy that wanted to be a wrestler. No, it was,
Nacho Libre.
had David Arquette in it, I think.
Isn't that what it is?
David Arquette is.
Oh
no. I can't find
Anyway,
it.
I don't mean to derail you. Go ahead.
Yeah. But so WrestleQuest is a yeah, so RPG styled, so turn-based combat as you go into these different scenes. It has it's reached out to the estates of professional wrestlers. So you're gonna actually have like Macho Man Randy Savage, and you're gonna have Andre the Giant, and various other professional wrestling legends from the past, mainly the 80s. And it just looks cool. I mean, as someone who enjoys wrestling still, and can't be told that it's fake, I will never listen to you. I'm sorry. It just I resonate with that character a whole lot. I think the gameplay is like he's actually like playing with figures or something like that too, and like that's also the idea. But just a unique take on combining genres that you just wouldn't think would mash up well, and I'm seeing multiple websites covering it and having access at the Summer Games Fest, and it's got me excited. No release date on that one yet, but it's coming to major platforms.
It'd be sweet if we could get our hands on it and maybe
Be very cool.
do some coverage. But I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not a big wrestling fan, but I'm also down for the idea of a sport RPG, because that harkens back to when I was a youngin with my Game Boy, and I played Mario Golf, which was an RPG.
Yeah, that was fun.
And Mario Tennis, like the original Mario Golf and Mario Tennis were RPGs, and they were great. They were so fun.
Yeah.
So like I'm digging that vibe.
similar to those ones, because I'm just remembering it's like, yeah, with this Wrestle Quest 2, you have like an open world, like a big hub world that you're exploring around, talking to different NPCs, and it just yeah, it's very nostalgic, very nostalgic.
Nice. I might actually enjoy it if it's anything close to what those old Mario sports games used to be.
Yeah,
Where
and I
it's
think the dialogue is going to be what sets it apart too. If it's clearly like it's poking fun at it, but it also is a love letter to wrestling at the same time,
mm,
because they're taking the effort to actually get the likeness of actual people. So, I don't know. Yeah, give it a shot, Dan.
I may have to. All right, that brings it back around to me, does it not? So
It
for
does
me,
indeed.
okay, I've got two other big ones, and then like this is probably strictly for me. I thought I wasn't expecting them to do a full reveal for the new Forza Motorsport game, but they did, and it was fantastic. I mean, the racing games are usually like a graphical, like statement of like here's what our machines are capable of doing, and they were like, here's Forza Motorsport. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I was fully expecting them to be like, Forza Motorsport, you'll see it next year sometime. But they also went really deep into showing how detailed the world is and how detailed the cars are and how good they sound. And there was a small part of me watching that trailer that like I started to tear up a bit because it made me nostalgic for all of my memories I've had playing Xbox over the years, all the way back to the original Xbox and the original Forza, then the 360 and Forza 2 and 3 and 4. Like I've played every Forza, and I'm just like it was actually physically breathtaking to me. And I don't know if that strikes for anyone else. If you're not a car fan, I get it. These sim racing games aren't for everyone. They're very niche. But if you enjoy racing at all, if you enjoy tuning, a sports car like me, I always, 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 always get a GTR, Nissan GTR. Every sports racing game I play, gotta have a Nissan GTR. And man, that looks incredible. I'm ready. I'm ready to get behind the wheel. And even to the point where I'm gonna dig out a copy of my original Forza just to play the level that they highlighted because like this is a level that's been at Forza since the first game, and look how good it looks. We've added a river. We got all this realistic lighting and rocks and landscapes. And yeah, I might be alone in this, but I'm super excited for that.
Dan, this is a game that I'm just so happy that Game Pass exists,
Yeah.
because this is not something that I would likely spend, that I would likely buy myself, but it is a game I'm absolutely going to play when it becomes available.
For
That
sure.
I'm more in the Forza Horizon side of things, but it looks beautiful, and I'm excited to see how much fun I can have with that one.
Yeah. I mean, fair warning, it's a simulation racer.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a different experience, like, and it happens to me every time I play a Forza. It's like I'll play Horizon and then I'll play the next Forza. And for the first 20 minutes or so, I'm crashing like crazy. And I'm like, what is happening? Because I forget I'm not playing Horizon, which is an arcade racer. And then you get into the nitty gritty of like when you're playing the simulation, you're actually like managing your throttle and your brake super precisely. You got to be super precise with all your steering. You got to tweak your engines and your tires. It's another level, but I love them.
I love that it at least gives you all the accessibility options that I can still play it like Horizon.
Yeah, absolutely.
That like it's gonna, if you really want to, that's there for you to worry
Mm,
about your engines. But if you want to just say, gas is go, brake is everything to me,
mm.
there's that option there too. They've always had all sorts of things to make it available to racers of all experience levels.
And there's the key mechanic that Forza's had from the very beginning is that rewind function. The first time I
Yeah.
ever played Forza and I did a rewind, I'm like, this is dumb. This is like cheating. Why do they let you do this? But the more I played the game, the more I realized that the rewind makes me a better driver.
Mhm.
And I thought it was weird that they added the rewind into Horizon, especially the later ones where it's an open world. I'm like, what do you need a rewind for? I don't rewind, whatever. But in the simulation racer, when you're like trying to hit the apex of a corner just right, and if you miss it, it completely f's everything up. And like, okay, let me try that again. Back it up. Okay, and do a little bit different. Oh, nope, we can do it a little better. Like it lets you learn the corners on a track rather than like, well, I screwed that corner up. Let me wait till I get all the way back around to try it again.
Yeah,
And
or
I really
having to
appreciate
restart
that.
the whole race
Yeah,
because
exactly.
now you're in last place.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm glad for everyone that that's gonna be a Game Pass, and if you're not a racer, you can at least dip your toe in it and see just how beautiful that game is. Yeah.
Sounds
Moving on
good.
to Tyler's last. Go big or go home, Tyler.
All right, so for my last one, well,
Ugh.
oh, no pressure, right? For my last one, I've also got a sort of skating game, but this one doesn't have any guns, so it's no roller drome. But Devolver's Skate Story just looks really stylish to me. I'm not like a huge like skating game guy. Like I'm not like a Tony Hawk guy. I'm not like a I don't even know the other skating games. But I like the ones that have like a little bit of like a little weird edge to them. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like the Skatebird game. I'm kind of into that. Even back when I was a kid, I used to play some like Disney Toy Story skating game.
Jet
So
Set
like,
Radio.
the skating games with a little bit of weirdness to them. Yeah, exactly. So like, that kind of stuff. I'm kind of into that. And so the Skate Story game, they started off with, it's got a great sounding soundtrack. I don't know what the artist is, but what they showed in the trailer sounded really good. That it set the vibe really well. And then they throw up like the text on screen, like you're a demon made of glass and pain and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like kind of edgy sounding, but then you see what the game looks like, and it's got like a vapor wavy kind of aesthetic, like empty city vaporwave kind of aesthetic. And it just looks really strange, but really cool. So that one makes my 3.
Nice. I missed that one, but it sounds cool. I gotta check out the trailer.
I think
Yeah.
I'm next.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off the
You
back
are
of Devolver
indeed.
again. Devolver. Their showcase was a pile of shit. Sorry for my friends who work at Devolver, but that was
Mm.
just 20 minutes of bullshit. Anyway, not derail. Devolver, something I'm really excited about. Fucking Angerfoot. Yeah. I've been following Angerfoot since it was in early development. I kind of did some kind of like following these guys. It's an indie game. If you haven't played Angerfoot, it was free on their little, what's that, Squid the
Oh,
little website.
Squid.io?
Yeah,
Or
it
is
was
this
free on there for a while, and I
Stitch or
think
whatever?
you may be able to get it for free. Go play it. It's a game you literally kick the shit out of everybody you meet. So
I mean,
it's
I'll even
just
go as far as, like, I'll do a little plug. Go check out our other channel, Deadpan Gaming. You can watch us checking out
yeah.
Angerfoot.
And also as well, I wrote an article on Angerfoot. It's on the Couch Soup website. You literally are a frog man in a balaclava. You run through an apartment block and you just kick the shit out of everybody you see, shoot people in the face, and people twerk over your dead body, and the music
Oh,
is
the
just like
twerk.
it's fucking wild. Go play it. Love it. Yeah.
A gang stole your shoe.
Gang stole my shoe.
That's the plot. Go get your shoe back.
Yeah. You're an angry foot.
Yeah,
So
it's just really cool that we got such an insightful look at it earlier on, and to see everybody else start to talk about this game now too. I'm just like, all right.
they've
Yeah,
actually seen some development like that there's actually going to be a VR version of this in the works. So you're going to be VR kicking people in the face, and I'm all for it. So yeah, definitely go check that game out. It looks nuts, but just play it. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
still
my
have
take.
that demo.
It's great.
Patrick, what is your final choice?
My final is the idea of The Last of Us 2 multiplayer.
The idea.
The idea of it, because obviously we got like a screenshot that looks like San Francisco. It's a bridge.
Yeah, I thought San Francisco the first time too, or maybe the Brooklyn Bridge.
Maybe New York. I'm not from either of those places, so those bridges aren't as burned into my memory.
Yeah.
So just, it's going to be a standalone game. They're worried about it being too big to do it as an add-on. Not that that's as much the issue, but just like, I'm excited by the ambition that they have, that they're like, we couldn't do this all on the scale that we originally thought, and they're talking about it being, campaign length, and that's like lofty promises, but if if they're able to execute that, I just can't wait to see more on that one. So that it's got me excited. It's got me excited. Last of Us 2.
It's sad that where it's going to be a while before we really learn any more details
Yeah.
on this too. It was like,
And
why? Like, just
I
throw out
pulled
this
it up
little
here to
tease.
remind me it was that the more details are expected to be released next year. Nothing about
Next year,
the
though.
game. More details next year, which maybe that means it's closer, but we'll just have to be patient, and that's what we'll do.
Well, we know Naughty Dog puts a lot of time and energy into their products. Like, it took them how many years to make The Last of Us 2?
Yeah, and take the time you guys need. I'm in no rush. I promise. I'll be here still. So,
Yeah.
give us something cool.
It would be cool to see if they flesh it out to, like you mentioned, like a campaign length. And immediately my brain started flashing like, oh, is it going to be like some sort of like interesting, like cooperative campaign, but also feature like competitive multiplayer assets? Like,
Factions was really interesting. Did you ever
yeah,
play
I
that
played
for
a
the
lot of
first one?
Factions when
It
that
was,
came out. It was
I
good.
mean,
I had a
and it
lot of
was
fun with it.
different. It was the pacing of it was different, and you
Mhm.
got, depending on like, didn't you? I mean, it was factions. Didn't you side with
Yeah, you had
a
to choose
certain
which
group?
side. You had to either be a Firefly or a Hunter, I believe.
Something like that, right? Right.
Yeah, and every time you
And
played a match, it, like, contributed to your faction's, strength and whatnot
yeah,
and
like
control.
people, like AI characters died if you didn't do well or
You can
something
still
like
play
that.
factions on the remake or the remaster on
Oh,
PS4.
okay.
Yeah.
I have to look into that to remind myself. But I just think that Naughty Dog has a track record of doing different things with their multiplayer.
Mm.
At
Yeah,
least
I
with The
love the
Last of Us.
Uncharted multiplayer.
Yeah, we've all played a
Uncharted
lot of
multiplayer
that.
was a good time.
Yeah.
Uncharted 2,
Yeah.
I wish they brought that back. I wish they brought back Uncharted's multiplayer.
Mhm.
So good. Uncharted 4's multiplayer is good, but 2 is the best. Anyways, yes, I am interested to see more. It's gonna be a while. I don't know what the deal is with Sony lately. Like, Sony's got such a thin trickle. They leaked one of their biggest news updates in The Last of Us Part 1 remake thing. Um, so I don't know. Sony's kind of like, what's going on over there? What you guys up to? I
Yeah.
hope that the God of War rumors are true, that God of War is going to drop this year because I'm ready to play some God of War Ragnarok. But yeah, last thing for me. Now, again, this is probably only me, but I did a Twitch live reacts to the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and the one thing that actually like made me like lose my mind when I saw the logo for Koei Tecmo show up, and I was like, because immediately my brain went Ninja Gaiden or Neo, like in the hopes that they were going to bring Neo to Xbox. But we actually got the announcement of a whole new IP called Wolong Fallen Dynasty from Team Ninja, head produced by one of the main guys who did Neo, as well as one of the guys who did Bloodborne. That alone, right there, to me, is like because I love both of those games. The trailer didn't tell you a damn thing. It looked really cool, but I'm here for whatever it is, and it's coming early next year. It's gonna be on Game Pass. Ugh, I can't wait to see more about this game. I'm hoping it's a blend of like Neo and Bloodborne meets Dynasty Warriors or something, and I'll be happy.
I needed a reminder, so I just pulled it up
Yeah,
right
Dan, I'm
now.
going to be 100% with you. Oh, go ahead.
It just looks wild.
Go ahead, Patrick.
The
just looks
trailer's
wild.
bananas.
Yeah, yeah. And if it controls like Bloodborne and has the weirdness of the other games combined, it should be a fun time. Looking forward to that too, Dan.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, no, the I was gonna say like the fact that any Bloodborne talent is attached, I'm there for it. You know what I mean? Bloodborne, a top 10 game for me. So like, I'm in. I'm right there with you. You know what I mean? That's it.
And it might not be Miyazaki, but that's okay. Like, Miyazaki doesn't make sequels, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with something that's being headed by like Bloodborne, people. That's fine, especially with the mixture of Neo. Like, oh my god. Anyways, we're gonna start wrapping up the show. Before I get into our closing statements here, I wanted to ask you guys real quick if we're feeling the mood to do a little bit of an after show discussion.
I don't mind.
or should we save that for another time?
I personally do have to split, but have fun. Do it as you will.
All right, all right. But just anyone who's watching, you can possibly stay tuned for a special after show discussion coming to the YouTube channel probably tomorrow. Anyways, I wanted to get out some honorable mentions before we close it out. To me, these are games that I'm definitely interested in, and I want to see more about them. And for me, it's The Last Faith, which is a Castlevania 2D side scroller meets Bloodborne. Definitely here for that. The art style looks amazing. The action looks amazing, as well as Routine, which is a really old first person shooter that's been in development for a while, but it's going to feature music by Mick Gordon, and it looked
Oh
fucking
yeah.
awesome. Anyone else think of anything else they want to throw out there before we close it out? Honorable
High on
mentions.
Life.
Yeah, High on Life.
High
That
on
looks
Life,
great.
yeah.
Absolutely High on Life.
Yeah, from Justin
Excellent.
Roiland. Those games look. I'm sorry, not the games. Those guns look wild, and they've got personality. And what was it? So it was JB Smoove as well as a voice I recognized, who I think is quite silly. And it just is one of those, like with Squanch games. It's just take me on a ride, and I don't need to know much about what's going on. It's just gonna be a fun time. So
Nice.
A game that I thought, what the fuck is going on, was Choo Choo Charlie. Yeah, it's like it's a bit like do you know the scene in the Blair
Oh
Witch
man.
Project game where you're like driving along in the little train, and it's like you get chased by a train with spider legs, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? It's just one of those games. I was like, just looks stupid. It's all right.
Stupid.
Stupid, but whatever. It's an honorable mention because it had that reaction on me. I probably will never play it, but yeah.
Anything from you, Tyler?
No,
Perfect.
head empty.
All
Not
right.
a
Well, I'm
single
going to take
thought,
us
Dan.
home then. So, in usual fashion, you guys feel free to email the podcast at the replayerpodcast at gmail. If you have any questions or thoughts on the new stuff, the new direction we're taking on the show, looking for as much feedback as possible, please and thank you. I might start sending out possibly like polls through Twitter or forums to try and see what people are thinking. If you feel like trying to contribute to what the new show is going to be, please hit me up and let me know. I got my notes a little mixed up over there. Anyways, doesn't matter. Thank you all for watching / listening to this episode. That's Maria. That's Tyler. That's Patrick. Thank you guys. I'm Dan Morris, and that's Game Over. We'll see you guys next week. Good night.
Good night.